We say that the Irish people can forget everything but a grudge. Once O'Malley doesn't like Murphy for something that he did 12 years ago, they are not going to talk. It is not going to end. Nope, we're not talking. This is part of what we had. So my father would be a mediator and try to get Murphy and O'Malley to talk, many times without success. But they might have a fight. That's how they thought, that's how you settle things. I'll knock him on his ass, I will. I'll knock him down. That's victory. That's success. And so somehow we got through that. And my dad coached at the local YMHA, a Jewish YMCA. And I can recall other adults talking to my father and questioning, like, "Hey, Franny, how come you're over there with those guys?" And he would try to penetrate their ice-cold, thick head about Jews are okay, they're people too. They're not people, God, they do this and that. That was the Irish response. That's it, they're going. So it does seem to get better. And I was able to see that because of my father's open way and the respect that the Jewish people gave him, that, you know, they're all right. I don't recall this, obviously, but when I was born, I was the first. My parents, there were just two of us. I was born on a Sunday, I understand. But the Jewish people got together, and one guy owned a furniture store, and one guy owned something else. They went down and got stuff for Franny's kid, because Franny's one of us. So they, the Jewish people, accepted Franny Walsh, and he, in his way, when he'd get back in our little community, would talk about the things that he did, and he had great communication. And so when I went to high school, we didn't really know any other black kids. I went to a grade school, still very Irish, with the nuns. You know, that was tough. I ended up going in the Marine Corps, and you've heard about the ferocity of the drill instructors in the Marine Corps, but I had a leg up when I got there because I had gone through 8 years of the nuns, and so the shock was not as bad after Sister Reprimando hit you with the pointer a few times. But that was a beautiful experience because you had respect, which I think largely, if I could be judgmental enough as I am, that in today's high schools and the kids growing up, they have no idea what the word respect means for themselves, for other people. It's me, and I'm the big deal, and I'm the center of what's going on, and the inflated sense of entitlement that these little 12-year-old snots have, that their parents have to go out of the way to make sure they get whatever they want because the other kid has it. I can't imagine. They don't even work. We caddied. I don't know whether you're familiar with golf or not, but that's my passion. That's the thing I do. That's what I like to do if I have nothing else to do. And when I have nothing else to do, that's what I will continue to do. But we caddied. You're 12 years old carrying a bag around the golf course for 4 or 5 hours, and you made $1.50. Now I know that dates me, but maybe today it's a little better. I'm sure it is. But we did work. We valued what we had, but I don't see that now. But enough of my rant about today's young people. But what I got from that was that because my father took me to a golf course to caddy, I was around adults. First thing he taught me, I guess I was 4, was how to shake hands and look the person in the eye and say, "Nice to meet you." rather than a little limp hand and people look at the ground because of a total lack of any security they have. You felt like you were, that you're doing the right thing. And so I did that, and then I got to meet other people, and I largely had to caddy for him because I was just young enough, and he would give me a quarter. I knew something wasn't right about that. And so when I found out I could go to this other country club and caddy and get $1.50, and then when I got bigger, I could carry 2 bags and I could make $3, I thought, that's what we're doing. And so when we caddied, we met with the Polish guys and the Italian guys, and you stand around all day waiting to be called for a job, and you got to know them, and they got to know us, and we caddied and we worked, and we had some pride in what we did. You felt good about yourself, and you also knew that there wasn't something wrong or something suspect about the Italian guy or the Polish guy. But you saw it in other people who didn't have the benefit of my father letting me blossom into the world and see something other than my own little cocoon, which was green, for my Irishness. And some are still locked in that. You're maybe familiar with the feud of the Irish and the English. Way back, the Irish were put upon unmercifully by the English, and that was the great potato famine in the 1840s or so. Well, there was, we grew up actually, if we did have any disdain for anybody, it was English. And you're 8 years old and you knew the English, they were bad people. Figure. You didn't know any better, but you knew, if I see one of them, if I hear someone talking like this, oh, give them a bolt. So that's what we, somehow after caddying and meeting people, you kind of looked around and said, oh, he's English? And we played ball together. He seemed all right to me. If I'd have known he was English, I'd have never played with him in the first place. But now that we played ball or played golf or had a good time, and then I found out he was English, I'd say, you know, he's all right. Seemed all right to me. And so, but I know to this day, there is a club in this 40 acres where I grew up, and it's still full of some of the guys that they go every night. They sit and drink beer all night. And when Notre Dame comes on, the Irish college, the Notre Dame, I don't know if you're familiar with it, but Notre Dame is the Catholic school with the gold dome, and that's the symbol of Catholic Irish. And they, if you had for some reason bet on another team and you were there, you got no shot of not getting in a fight, because you violated a sacred thing by wanting another team to beat Notre Dame. The nuns would pray for Notre Dame to win. And it was like, what is this? So I'd prefer they win, but I don't really care now. But we grew up with such stricture that you didn't look. And I'm just glad I was able to do that, because of the number of friends that I have, that I don't make a judgment about them before I see them. Even if I hear something wrong, he would always say, if you hear that this guy's a rotten person and he did this, don't knock him out. Don't reject him. You get along with him. You find out for yourself if he's a rotten, non-trustworthy person. You find out for yourself, and then you make a judgment, but not before. And somehow, you know, of all the things your father tells you, you know that you never, if there's one guy who doesn't know what he's talking about, it's your father. I mean, but if some guy that just got off a bus from somewhere and he tells you something, you think, yeah, that'd sound pretty good. I think I'll do that. You have no idea who he is, but he tells you something and you think that's a good idea. But when your father tells you, shh, can't do that. But everyone